Hi, and welcome to the VOILA Method podcast, Solutions for the Mind, Body, and Soul with Joel Crandall, the creator and developer of the VOILA Method. The VOILA Method bridges the gap and makes the complex simple by using an assessment and a treatment protocol that aligns the mind, the body, and the soul. The VOILA Method is more than just a technique. It's a lifestyle to help you as a practitioner and your clients. Today's guest is Julietta Wenzel out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and she owns a physical therapy clinic called Ocean Therapy Center. So welcome, Julietta Wenzel.
Hi, Joel.
How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
I am doing better. Thank you for taking the opportunity to do our first VOILA Method podcast here. I'm trying to just talk with different people that do the VOILA Method, and you have your own clinic, and I believe you're the first all physical therapy clinic that has the VOILA Method in it with all your practitioners. But I want to talk to you about how did VOILA help you personally?
Well, for me personally, the biggest thing was it came into my life at a time that I had been through a lot of personal difficulties, which kind of made me create a wall around myself just as a coping method to get through day-to-day life. And VOILA showed up at the right time to bring those walls down and bring me back to myself again.
And how did VOILA Method do that for you?
Well, it started with a correction that you made to my head that, I don't know if that's where the body was just kind of storing all the tension, but once you made the correction to my head, everything just kind of melted and I had a big emotional release, and that was just kind of the start of everything.
I have a vivid memory of that correction at that moment. That's just burned into my brain. I'll probably never forget that moment. It was pretty special. How has it changed your practice?
Well, it's made things a lot easier for me. I've always been a PT that worked with alternative methods, but one of the biggest difficulties that I always had was being able to take what I did and train my staff and have them be able to get the same kind of results. And VOILA has definitely filled that need, that now I can confidently pass any patient in the clinic over to any of my staff and know that they're going to be able to get the same fantastic results that I get. So
that's got to give you some confidence in the clinic, right?
Oh, for sure.
I think that's the great thing too, that VOILA Method is duplicatable. Everyone can do it.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that we talk about with the VOILA Method is it is open to everyone to take. So we have housewives, we have pastry chefs, we have CEOs of companies taking the class. So VOILA Method is a great standalone, but it also works synergistically with some other modalities that you use. Now, I know with you, Julietta, you become the first instructor of the VOILA Method other than myself. What made you want to do that?
Mostly for me, it's wanting to help other practitioners, get outside the box. Our Western medical model really limits people's thinking and abilities, and so it's one thing to share in my clinic, but if I can get out there and teach other therapists, then this can be spread much further and help so many more people.
Well, I really appreciate your help and the great job that you are doing in taking over and teaching some of the level 1 classes. So thank you.
It's my pleasure.
And we always have some great stories in the seminars, but if you'd like, please share a favorite client story or maybe something that happened in a seminar while you were teaching.
Well, can I just talk about, it's kind of what I posted about the seminar, but the beauty of this last one that I taught is we had almost a 50-50 ratio of healthcare practitioners and non-practitioners in the class. And in fact, the non-practitioners were mostly retired individuals, people who are clients of mine and who really want to be empowered to be able to take care of themselves. And I was a little nervous because of how many non-healthcare practitioners we had in the class, worried that the therapist would be upset that these non-practitioners might be slowing them down, or the non-practitioners feeling overwhelmed. But it just came together so beautifully. Everybody supported everybody. The practitioners really helped the non-practitioners understand the anatomy and the technical components of it. But then I think it was also really powerful for the practitioners to have a non-practitioner work on them and achieve fantastic results. Like, I think both sides were completely amazed at how, like you said earlier, anybody can learn to do this and be successful at it. Yeah. So that was just, I think, the most rewarding and fun part about teaching that last class.
That is a fun part. It's also sometimes really fun to watch the non-practitioners outperform the body workers.
They have all these preconceived ideas of how the body works and what should happen. They're just completely open to anything to happen. So it's very cool.
It is cool. It is cool. So I think we kind of covered how Voila is different from other modalities. And the big one is that you can work on yourself. Do you want to share a little bit about you working on yourself?
Absolutely. Most of the other methods that we use, it's very difficult for you to be able to treat yourself. And even though I'm in a clinic with other practitioners, and from time to time, we'll help each other out and work on each other, but our days are long and we work hard. And at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do is work on another person. So we, feel uncomfortable asking it, do you mind? My back's kind of bugging me or something. So this way you have an amazing tool to just take care of yourself when you need to. And, in the beginning, you work on yourself every single day. And, it just is part of the transformation process. And, when you feel balanced every day, everything is easier.
Much, much easier. It really is. Now, I mentioned earlier that you work in a neurophysical therapy clinic. So it's not your typical physical therapy clinic where people come in with sprained ankles and, sore muscles. You really work with I've had the wonderful opportunity of watching you do your work at your clinic. And you work a lot with neuro patients. So your strokes and other words that I just can't even pronounce. And it's just amazing to watch you do it. Do you find that Voila works synergistically with what you're doing and other different modalities that you use, or?
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of our neuro patients come for intensive programs where they may be doing anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. And the really cool thing is balancing them, using the Voila method on them before we get into, because we're talking about kids and adults who can't sit up by themselves, can't stand up by themselves, can't walk. And so, the only way to get them to be able to do those things is a lot of hard work. But using the Voila method, the progress that these kids are able to make in a short amount of time is practically unbelievable. I mean, if someone told me that they had the results, I probably wouldn't believe them if I didn't see it myself. So
yeah, I agree. And and one of your really good friends, Leonardo Severa out of Brazil, who works with, you could probably have to explain to everybody the clientele that he works with, and to see the results that he's getting has been amazing. I never will forget a new stroke patient that you had in your office, and he could get up out of his chair and he could take 3 steps and he had to sit back down. And I asked if I could do a correction to him, and I got permission. And we made a little correction to his head, and he got up and he walked 20 steps, and he just looked back at me and he said, "Thank you." And it was just like,
Yeah,
wow.
it's something like that. You might spend weeks trying to get someone to be able to make that kind of a change. So, to see immediately is incredible.
It really is. And I think that's why one of the reasons I wanted to do the podcast and also do it as a video, which you may have just frozen up there for a quick second there. But the reason I wanted to do this for as a video podcast is because some of the stories do seem to be unbelievable. And that's why I don't, post a lot about the successes that I have with the VOILA method, because no one believes it anymore. So what's something that you would say to somebody that was thinking about taking the VOILA method seminar?
Stop thinking and just do it. But especially as physical therapists, I know we get a lot of pressure for going outside the box. It's not an easy thing to do, but I always tell people, even if you only go into it to use it on yourself and to keep yourself healthy, that's fine. But once you see what it actually will do, you're going to want to use it on your patients, and you're not going to care that it looks different or it's strange. The results they just speak for themselves. You have to try it and do it.
Well, I can't let you go without sharing a story about your dad. So can you tell the people a little bit about your dad, who's a retired engineer and he has taken VOILA?
So, part of this is I'm from Wisconsin, and my dad lives in Wisconsin, and as you said, I live in Fort Lauderdale. So we're kind of far apart. But my dad grew up on a farm with an older brother, played contact sports. This man, his poor body has been beat up so much over the course of his life. And pretty much every time I would go home, it would be, while you're here, you got to fix this problem, you got to fix that problem, et cetera, et cetera. So finally, after I kind of realized that you would be open to non-practitioners taking the class, I told my dad he didn't have a choice. He was going to sign up and he was going to take this class and learn how to do it. And he's had such fantastic results with it, and he's having so much fun. He took the intro course twice, and he took 1.5, and I was actually talking to him this morning as well, and he's getting ready to do his level 1 certification so he can take level 2.
Awesome.
And but it's amazing what he's been able to do. And he and his girlfriend travel all over the world, and she likes to volunteer him to help people. So they just recently took a trip to Vietnam, and one of the women along in their tour group fell, and the next day had reported she couldn't sleep all night. She was in so much pain. She was having trouble walking. And so my dad offered to help her, and, did his assessment and made his corrections. And she slept like a baby the next night and walked the whole rest of they were over there for like a month touring. So pretty much saved the vacation for this woman.
Wow. That's an amazing story in itself. Well, Julietta, I know you're extremely busy, and I want to keep these podcasts somewhat short so people don't lose too much attention. So I want to thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Any last words that you would like to share?
Just if you're thinking about trying this, do it. And if you have any doubts too, there's so many practitioners now, there's probably somebody near you. Reach out and have a session and see what it's all about.
I think that's a big thing. You have to experience it. And that's something that somebody wrote earlier. You have to experience it because the conscious mind can't even comprehend all the different things that are happening in the correction with VOILA.
Absolutely.
So, thank you very much, Julietta. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too.
So that was the VOILA Method podcast, where it's more than just a technique, it's a lifestyle for you as a practitioner. The VOILA Method is, excuse me, The VOILA Method is a mind, body, and soul solution to make the complex simple. Look forward to seeing you next time.